I love this comic book, The Walking Dead, book number 37. We start with a flashback in Atlanta. Lori and Shane are having sex on the grass at the side of a road. After they're done, Shane checks on Carl and tells Lori that he is fine. She thanks him for it, as well as making her briefly forget about everything, and Shane confesses it was the same for him. Lori laments how her parents are probably dead, and that they came to Atlanta and left Rick in the hospital for nothing. She asks if Shane is sure they should stay near the city, but he is confident that once the government starts to clear out the walkers, they will start with the cities. So Atlanta is the safest place to be. He adds that Rick is being taken care of in a hospital, and that there isn't anything they can do for him anyway. Lori confesses that she feels guilty for leaving Rick and for what she and Shane just did. Shane asks what will happen to their relationship once things go back to normal, and if she is going to tell Rick about them, to which Lori replies that she doesn't know. At the prison, Rick asks what Lori has on her mind. She says that she's just dwelling on the past. She says that she likes to be alone with Rick sometimes, and her baby starts to kick. She begins to say that he is kicking like crazy today, but then notes that she's saying he too much. The baby might be a girl, but she confesses that she's too used to Carl. Rick thinks for a second and realizes that a crib or a bassinet needs to be built, but that he's been so busy he forgot about it. Lori tells him to relax, and then they go to sleep. Rick falls asleep, but Lori just stares at the prison walls. In the morning, Carol goes to the prison hospital, and Alice thinks that Lori and her baby will be okay. Carol introduces herself to Alice and says that she seems like a nice person. Alice thanks her, and Carol says that she thinks they'll get along well. Meanwhile, Billy goes up to Patricia's cell. He looks away and asks if she's decent. She replies that she is, and then Billy asks her how she's feeling. She's okay, but she's still thinking about Otis, and says that he was the closest friend she had. Billy says that he's sorry that he's been treating her poorly, and states that everybody is still a little angry that she sided with the prisoners to kick them out. He says that everybody has done something they're not proud of, and informs her that he'll treat her like a friend from now on. He asks if she'll come to Maggie and Glenn's wedding, and she says that she didn't get invited. Billy confesses that he didn't either, but that everybody just expects everybody will be there. Billy says that Maggie would like to have her there, because there was a time that Patricia was like a mom, or at least an older sister to Maggie. Patricia is still reluctant and asks when it's taking place. At the wedding in the cafeteria, Herschel is giving a wedding speech, acting as a priest because he's the most spiritual person there to Glenn and Maggie. They both want to live together for the rest of their lives, and they both state their vows. Then it's time for Glenn to kiss the bride. Later on in their cell, Glenn says that they had a nice ceremony. Maggie states that they are really married, and Glenn and Maggie stare at each other lustily for a few seconds. Maggie jumps on Glenn, and the two have sex. At Tyrese's cell, Michonne shows up. Tyrese wakes up and asks what Michonne is doing in here. She starts to cry, and Tyrese holds her. The next day, the group is having a basketball match. Patricia is encouraging the girl team, and Carol tells Lori that she had found some t-shirts. Andrea is also working on some clothes for winter. Carl asks why Rick doesn't play, but then remembers his missing hand and apologizes. Rick isn't offended and doesn't want Carl to be upset. Later, in the stockroom, where all the riot suits and guns are kept, Rick, Tyrese, and Dale are talking about the weapons they have. Rick wants to check if their pistols will take the ammo the prison pistols have. Tyrese thinks that taking inventory on their guns is a waste of generator gas, but Rick responds that the kids are watching something, so it isn't going to waste. Suddenly, Dale notes that they don't have enough weapons to defend themselves from the Woodbury survivors. He also says that they haven't even prepared for the attack. None of them have any idea of what to do, but then Dale suggests sending out a search party for the National Guard station and to loot the place dry. Andrea, Glenn, Maggie, Tyrese, Michonne, and Axel are taking the RV to the National Guard station for more supplies. Dale wants to come, but Andrea says that he should watch after Ben and Billy. Glenn and Maggie are wearing riot suits. Tyrese asks if Michonne really wants to go, and she replies saying that somebody's got to keep an eye on him. Axel checks that they are all prepared, and they leave. Later, Rick says that he should have left with them and feels guilty about it. Lori wants him to get to bed, and Rick asks what's wrong. Lori says that they have to talk about Shane. This flashback has surprised me a little with Lori and Shane. We finally see a little more than the flashback previously. The little tryst took place before they joined the group, it looks like. But to Shane, there's clearly an us. I don't know if there is an us for Lori. I am glad she seems to feel a bit guilty. At this point, she believes Rick to still be alive, so she is knowingly cheating on him. All she can say is, I don't know, to Shane's question about what she will tell Rick, or will she tell Rick. We will find out soon enough, but this makes me like her even less than before. Now Rick and Lori are chatting in the cell. This is what leads to the flashback. Her guilt is really building up. Carol walks over to the infirmary to introduce herself to Alice. We'll have to see if she tries to start anything romantic with Alice. For now, it's just to say hi and introduce herself. We do see all the organizing that Alice has done in the infirmary. She's prepared for Lori's birth as much as she can be at this point. She's also commented that there are medical books there that she is going to read to learn more. I know this person is very smart. I'm now very curious to see if she can actually learn medical procedures from a book. Billy pays Patricia a visit. We haven't heard much about her as she has basically been cut off from everyone because she joined with the prisoners to overthrow the group. I can't blame them there. Her behavior on that was reprehensible. It will take a lot from her to get back into the good graces of the rest of the survivors. It is nice that Billy told her he will treat her like a friend again. Maybe that small step from Billy will slowly get others to warm up to her again. It's quite a mountain to climb, but it's possible. Herschel performs the wedding ceremony for Maggie, his daughter, and Glenn. I'm not familiar with the beginning of what he was saying or reading. That may have just been from him. The rest is cut and dry out of the Bible. Glenn stumbling over his vows was awkward and cute. Maggie had no hesitation at all. I wonder how divorce will work now in this situation without courts and stuff. Michonne cracks a little. She goes to Tyrese and cries. I do hope it was therapeutic. Dale suggests they look for the National Guard station. It may have ammunition and supplies that they need to fight off Woodbury. We don't know if Woodbury took everything already. Also, we don't know where it's located. 6 of the survivors take up in the RV to go and find it. Will the RV have enough gas to get there? Will it have enough food? Do they find it, or do they give up and come back? A second conversation between Lori and Rick, and this time she tells him they need to talk. Is she going to tell him about Shane? Thanks for tuning in to the I Love This Comic Book podcast. If you would like to make a donation in support of this podcast, you can through Cash App to Pasta26MC. That's pasta like the food, the number 2, the number 6, M as in monkey, C as in cat. If you would like to sponsor this podcast or advertise on it, please send an email to podcast@pastasworld.com. As always, you can go to pastasworld.com for more information.